Hello, everyone. I'm Santiago C. Carrata, President and CEO of Visit Tampa Bay. Welcome back to another incredible episode of Unlocking Tampa Bay. This August, it's all about football in Tampa. From new teams and stadiums to thrilling tournaments, our soccer scene is getting a facelift. We're starting the month with a kick as the Stateside Cup comes to our destination. Prepare for an electrifying match as English Premier League sides West Ham United and Crystal Palace FC face off at Raymond James Stadium on August 3rd. And our new professional women's team, Tampa Bay Sun FC, is making waves with its inaugural season in the USL Super League at our stunning Riverfront Stadium. Nestled along the picturesque Hillsborough River in downtown Tampa, this revamped and expanded venue is set to host an unforgettable match against Dallas Trinity FC on August 18th to kick off the season. In this episode, we'll chat with key individuals who have been instrumental in bringing the excitement of the beautiful game of soccer to life here in our destination. Take it away, Serena.
Thank you so much, Santiago. I'm Serena Fazan, and kicking off this episode, a true treasure in the local and new soccer scene, leading the charge in the inaugural season for the Tampa Bay Sun. Oh, yes, we have the president and general counsel, Christina Unkel. What an honor.
Well, no, thanks for having me.
You. I couldn't even get through the open. It took me 3 times because we're so excited to have you here.
Oh, and we're excited to be here. And I can't believe we are here now officially.
Christina, I mean, honestly, we have so much to talk about. Mm-hmm. The journey of this league. Getting here, where to begin? Can you start?
Yeah, so let's begin at the beginning. No, we can start here. And I think one thing that many people don't know is that the United Soccer League, which is a league that the Tampa Bay Sun play in, is first division professional women's soccer. So equivalent to NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL. So we are talking that Tampa Bay has its first ever major women's professional sporting team in a professional level in the USL, which is actually headquartered in Tampa. So not only do you have the headquarters of the league in Tampa, you also have the Tampa Bay Sun here.
I mean, honestly, I have goosebumps all over. I mean, this is incredible that this happened. And only 8 teams.
Only 8 teams for the inaugural year. And you use this word incredible. And for somebody who's been part of women's professional soccer or football, depending upon where you come from the world, right? This is something that is still a very much pinch me moment. I just saw the players training for the first time. They've been in preseason for 3 weeks, but I saw them for the first time. And to know that, where the development of women in sports, let alone women in soccer, have come by, to know that we have women's professional soccer in Tampa Bay is just truly a pinch me moment for not just the community, but the impact of young boys and young girls in seeing women professional athletes here now in Tampa.
I know we have so much to talk about. So how did the seed get planted in the first place?
Yeah, no. So our 3 major owners, Daryl Shaw, many might know from the development projects and works he does with Ybor City and Gasworks and many other developments he's doing. Then we have David Laxer, owner of Burns Steakhouse, and also was one of the original owners who brought the Rowdies, Tampa Bay Rowdies that play in St. Pete back after the initial end of NASL route. And then Jeff Fox, and all 3 of them actually played soccer together in high school here, won a national championship together, always had this love for this game. Now, as successful business owners and entrepreneurs, one of the biggest things to them is how do they bring back something that gives back to the community and the impact for it. So I remember meeting with all 3 of them. I asked them a million questions. Mm-hmm. One, why women's soccer? Like, why do 3 men want to bring women's soccer to Tampa Bay?
Isn't that something?
It is. And so I definitely did do my due diligence, and I feel bad because I did grill them a bit. But
you go, girl.
Yeah, no. And I mean, I think the thing that really gave me the chills and just pushed me over to saying yes to this project, easily all 3 of their responses was, because this community needs it. But most importantly, there's economic impact in women's sports. And that's where we need to really, really focus in when we talk about women's sports. Yes, it's aspirational. Yes, it's overdue. But at the same time, it is also a successful and profitable business market for economic impact and ensuring that you have a successful club moving forward.
Absolutely. I mean, I always say sports galvanizes a community.
Correct.
I mean, it just brings the community together. And what about the fact you're a mother as well?
Yeah.
to give back to a local high school.
Yeah.
Blake High School. Talk about how where the field was chosen and everything that went into that, where the matches are going to be played.
Yeah, so we went through quite a bit of a research to see, where will we bring for at least our temporary stadium, right? Actually, now I think that's the only thing I can't fully tell you is where we're going to put the permanent stadium. It will be in the heart of Tampa Bay. I can tell you guys that much. But when we were looking for the temporary stadium in the meantime, we looked as far south as St. Pete and as far as north as where University of South Florida is, USF. But one of the major things we wanted to find is a place that has access. So that kind of continued to keep leading us to the corridor, the heart of Tampa Bay, because of the ability to get there, especially in this area where within 30 minutes you have about 2 million people who can easily access this space. And then the second kind of core competency of why we've started this club in the first place was because of the community. So we went back and said, okay, we want to build something that in 3 years we just don't leave and abandon it. It just kind of sits there, but it's something that some other organization or company or something that does to the community gives back. And I remember when the owners approached me about Blake High School and inquiring in that, my actual first response were, no, we're not putting women's professional sports in a high school, right? It sounded kind of backwards. But meeting with Principal Newton and taking a look at what the resources they have there, knowing that we could invest over $7 million in redoing their entire stadium so that it didn't feel like, a quote unquote high school, right? But it felt like a professional environment, not just for our professional athletes, but importantly for the current and the next generation of Blake High School students. And with a school that historically has found itself, right, with, underfunded and undersupported, to know that while we rise, we can bring the community and rise with us together. And meeting Principal Newton prior to us even going to the school district and requesting for this. It was an incredible partnership to be able to do so. So not just focusing on giving them infrastructure that they can use for decades after we're gone and would be currently using it while we're there too as well. Most importantly, it was also impacting the students that go there, whether it's their performing arts school because they have a great magnet program for that, but also those who might want to work in front of the camera, behind the camera, those who want to learn the business side of it, those who just want to learn the logistics side of what's it take to be part of a professional sports team, because it's just not the athletes out there.
Well, Christina, you use the word incredible, and it truly is incredible. All the opportunities that are going to arise for so many people, even the youngest, the future of this beautiful city. So speaking of future, tell us about the makeup of the team. We have players coming from all over, don't we?
From all over the world. So one of the biggest reasons why we needed this team, we needed this league, was for decades. Women's soccer specifically was either non-existent or not supported on a financial basis. And when you really looked at the trajectory of women's soccer and how many play in team sports and then NCAA, typically when I'm speaking, I always say, raise your hand if you played soccer. Not many people do. Then I say, raise your hand if your kid plays soccer or a niece or a nephew, and almost everyone does. Many of those, especially on the women's side, go and play NCAA college soccer. And then after that, that's literally their plateau because there was not a venue. Now there's a venue with women's professional soccer and being able to play in those kind of capacities, right? It really opens a door for people to see an actual, where the goal is to remove the word women athlete and just leave it with athlete. But if you can't see it, then you can't be it, right? So that's truly such an honor to be able to bring that here. Like I said, the first season we'll have 8 teams and it'll grow to 12 teams. And just for people to be able to see that there is not just a belief, but there's an actual investment in it.
Isn't that something? And so the first game is supposed to be right in August at this point.
Oh, I would love to use the word supposed to be, but it is officially.
Yes, it's official.
I'll always use some more time, but in 25 days, not like I'm counting, but from the date that we record this, August 18th is our official first home game, the first time that this city will ever have women's professional sports played in, which is mind-blowing. So it's a new day, it's a new dawn is our theme that we're going with it. The goal is to sell out a little over 5,000 5,000 tickets, which is not a hard thing to do. And we're already over 2,000 between season ticket holders. Single game day tickets just went on sale a couple days ago as well. And we already have over 500 of those tickets bought. So it's going to be a rocking atmosphere right there on the Riverfront Stadium, which is, where we're sharing adjacent with Blake, right across from Armature. So anyone I talk to, especially outside this area, when they ask us where the stadium's going to be, I'm like, do you remember when we throw those Tampa Bay parties and throw trophies around in a river. I'm like, that's where we're going to be playing at on
Gosh,
August 18th against Dallas Trinity.
Wow, so well suited. So well suited. For people who are watching or listening and are interested in tickets, where is the best way right now to go and get those tickets?
Yeah, no, definitely on our website, www. I don't even know if you say that anymore, but Tampa Bay Sun FC.com. And obviously, throw in a Google, you should see us really quickly. You can either buy them online if you want to see season game tickets, single, and then there's also Flex Pass, where you can buy a group of tickets and then be able to apply them to wherever you want. And then also, like Laura Wilhelm, as our ticket sales manager, her and her team are ready to take on a phone call as well too, if you want guidance as to where's the best seating for my family and the location. Right, we have like I said, brand new seating that has been installed in that place. And for those that are really rowdy, and I'm going to use the word rowdy in honor of our rowdies here in Tampa Bay, but those who really are passionate and understand the game of football in the sense of tifos and chants and cheers, there's an official supporter group called the Heat Wave that are already there. And the east side of it's going to be something that's going to really feel, when you turn on that TV and you see those crowds at soccer games and chanting and cheering, that's what our east side is going to be as well.
And you would encourage, this is really a family affair, wouldn't 100%. You say?
Yeah, that's...
all ages.
All ages. One of my favorite things about women's professional soccer, like having refereed the U.S. women's national team multiple times and going to women's pro soccer and events, is that the feel and the vibe of those games are so family oriented in the right way, right? You come in, be able to afford tickets for everybody, right? No one's essentially priced out, right? If you have a family of three, bring them, right? Because those activations off of the actual game in and of itself for your kids to be entertained. I thought of you guys because I'm a parent as well too, where you can get yourself a nice cold adult beverage while your child is entertained for 90 minutes and be able to watch. But yeah, it's such a family-oriented experience. We'll have the water taxi have a stop right there at the stadium as well too. So if people park at Armature and go and enjoy something prior to, and then jump in the water taxi and come over, that's also being covered by us. So it's going to be an incredible experience of just actually showing up to the game.
It sounds like it. I'm already so excited about it. And what about Tampa Bay Sun?
Yes.
Now, it's a great name.
Oh, thanks.
How long did it take to come up with the name?
Oh my gosh. It was a hard, miserable experience for anybody who's ever had to name something. The only reason why is because anytime we came up with the name, there was either an intellectual property right or a trademark or one or two different matters that prevented us from naming it something. But I think the one thing that we're all very proud about is that the name was named by the community. So even prior to me stepping on in July of last year, the owners and some consultants went around the community and they did kind of workshop events, asking the community, what do you want the name to be? What are some core values? Like, this is a community this is a club for the community, and I always say is named by the community. Aww. And one of the consistent things time after time after time when we looked at everything was associated with the sun, whether it was sunrise, sunset, just sun in general. Tampa Bay Sol, SOL, which I will still use, so if you see me using that, I love that name. Sun was such a radiant theme, and pun intended there. But it made sense too, right? Because every single day the sun rises, right? There's a new day, there's a new sunrise. The sun rises, the sun sets. We're blessed here in Tampa Bay of having sunshine pretty much the whole time. So that's how the name came to be, Tampa Bay Sun, which was just kind of a blessing in disguise. And it's so obvious of a name that we kind of bypassed it a couple of times. We're like, no, it might need, and then we're like, no, sometimes those are the best.
Isn't it something that just sticks?
It sticks. And when we saw the logo, it really stuck. We saw the logo and we're like, sold, done.
So how many games can we see being played in the first season?
So the first season is 14 home games, so a total of 28, but 14 home games, 7 in the fall and 7 in the spring. So something that's unique to our league specifically. So those who watch Major League Soccer or NWSL are very used to kind of more of a March to November time zone. Our league actually tracks the rest of the global world in a traditional FIFA. So those are going to really really dork out with me right here, is a traditional FIFA calendar structure, which is truly August through May with a break in December and January. So our games kick off August 18th. Last game is mid-December. Then we go on break. Players return to training in January. We're working on some really cool kind of tournament features with some names that people would know. That's in the works.
But that can't be disclosed yet.
That one can't be disclosed. Between now, as I told you, I could say everything. Now I'm like, oh, like the midsummer, like cool tournament we're going to put on, as well as the permanent stadium are the two things now I realize I can't say. But yeah, and then we return to play in February until May. And I always say June because that's when playoffs and finals are. And so I just already, I'm already envisioning that we're going to do that.
And, talk about an all-star cast, though. You talked about a lot of the players from all over.
Yeah.
Well, what's the age range of the players?
The age range, I would say our median age range is about 24, 26. I would say 90% of them have been professional footballers or professional soccer players already. We have about 2 that have just come from college into the professional ranks. It's a bit of a blessing because even 5 years ago, the majority of teams would be comprised of majority of just collegiate athletes who just graduated. But now with obviously people being able to play professional football and make a meaningful career out of it. Now there's a really big depth when it comes to the professional side of it. Many Americans. So one thing that's unique to soccer is that you're usually allocated only a certain amount of spots for international players. So 7 spots, and those are filled. We have players from Ghana, Japan. We have a couple of really strong England former national team players for the England national team as well that have joined our ranks. And I think one of the beauties is that many here, Tampa Bay is considered a stronghold for soccer at the youth level, and there's a lot of graduates who've gone on and done incredible things. That we have some players that are coming back who've wanted to play at home but never had the option. So, Kaylin Marquise used to play for Arsenal over there, and if anyone's been tracking women's football, especially in England, Arsenal's been selling out 50, 60,000, beating them, matching the men's, if not beating the men's team in their main stadium over there, and just really moving the needle. And we had the opportunity to bring Kaylin back. She's a St. Pete resident, born and raised, and she's now one of our goalkeepers. And it's just amazing to be able to give them opportunities to play in their backyard.
Right. And I'm sure that the recruitment process, because all of this is so new. I mean, it's not new for people who are involved in soccer, but bringing a team, we're used to the recruitment process for other sports. Can you touch base a little bit on that too? Like, how do we find the players?
Yeah, and that's a great question because that's what we call a year 0 or year 1 issue, where when you create a brand new team for the first time ever, you're essentially filling 23 professional spots from scratch.
Wow.
So where our other American sports typically have the draft, our league does not have a draft associated with it. So we, and thankfully blessed to have Denise Schulte-Brown, who was the former head coach of USF, had been there for 17 years creating a legacy. And funny enough, I refereed plenty of her games. So that's how we knew each other. I was the ref. She was the coach.
Isn't that something? And I do want to get into that too.
It's so ironic. But like her stepping on fully in November and her staff, her sporting staff, of just being able to really go in and scout and identify players and build a really good player mix of what matches her philosophy as well as individuals we want to bring into this community and impact it. They did an incredible job of I do all the contracts, the negotiations, the wheeling and dealing. They do the identification. So we just laugh. We're like, this will be the first and only time we'll have to do 23 players. Be a lot. We keep laughing. Like, this time next year, what are we going to be doing? We're not going to be building a stadium or players or a training facility or onboarding and escalating our full front of house staff from 4 people to 25 in like 6 months. So
it's just so exciting to be a part of history. I mean, this is history in the making right now.
And I need people like you to remind me of that because I'm not doing a very good job of living in the present. I'm like, what's next? What's next? What's next? Right? Because for me, this is so purpose driven, right? Someone had asked me previous, like, would I have served in this role for another team in another capacity? And I would have respectfully said the answer is no, because it wouldn't have meant as much, right? My work with the legal work as well as work with TV broadcasting on the sports side of it for soccer as a rules analyst, like, things like this wouldn't really have hit all the buckets, but for the fact this is something that I can combine a lot of my skill sets to give back to a community that I'm passionate about, that I love, that I'm raising my family in. So it's just something that Yes, help me be present, because I'm always trying to deliver you guys a world-class experience. I've changed the vision. The vision is to be a global leader in women's professional soccer, because the world needs to know about Tampa Bay. And guess what? They already know about Tampa Bay, because when I do global work, everyone's like, where's this team? I don't even mention Florida. I just say Tampa. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, Tampa. We love Tampa. So, yeah, it's an easy sell, too, especially to the Brazilians who like to stay in the warm weather.
Well, of course, it was leading to many of the questions that I still have. We are Visit Tampa Bay. So breaking records already on tourism and people visiting
Incredible.
this beautiful city. What does Tampa Bay Sun do for that?
Yeah. One of the biggest things is like we have so many key pieces, right? So many different crown jewels on essentially on a crown, right? We have our other professional sporting events. We have the beaches. We have where you would want to live with the great air and quality. And truly, this town has reformed over the past 10 years. It's unrecognizable. So I used to work in the federal courthouse here for Judge K. And I was like, oh, like Tampa, like, I don't know. I don't really get the whole gist. And this was like 13, 14 years ago. And now when I come here for work, I'm like, this is incredible. Like, I kind of don't want to tell people about it. And I know this is Visit Tampa Bay, we need to. But, because it's a place you want to work, live, play, eat, invite others to come. It's a place that you're proud of, and you're proud to be part of that fabric for it. And so truly where Tampa Bay Sun runs into Visit Tampa Bay is it continues to create that complete holistic approach of this is a city that has everything, right? We never had a women's professional sports team. Guess what? Now we do. Now we have everything. We have all parts of it. We have everything that people want to watch. And, the saying is, before people used to say no one watches women's sports, and that was true. It was never on TV, so you couldn't watch it even if you wanted to. Now it's on TV, and we see the ratings, and we see what's going on in WNBA, and everyone watches women's sports. And guess what? Now we have that as well as part of the crown jewels.
And again, we've used the word incredible a few times, but it truly is. It truly is incredible. I know there's certain things that you can't say, like where the permanent location is going to be. Yeah, that's under wraps still. But what is, and it's already a dream. It's already a dream that it's here. Where do you see it going?
Yeah. So, like I said, the vision is very big, to be a global leader in women's professional soccer around the world, to be among the ranks of the Barcelonas and the Arsenals of the world and the Man Uniteds, and to just really be a name always moving there, where people want to come and play and come to this club for either playing on our championship team or developing or whatnot. So that is from like a pure sporting aspect of where we see this materializing and stepping into this global leader in women's professional soccer. It's also a global leader in a sense of where our permanent stadium will have events tied to it as well. It will be another kind of hitting that event space where truly, right, we have so many different stadiums here that are great, right? We're Raymond James Stadium, right? Then we have obviously Amalie Arena. But then there's still a number missing between that 10 to 20,000 where you can bring in some really incredible events that aren't too, like don't feel right. We always, I work with the Lightning and VSG, and they do such an incredible job with us too. And I think Kevin Priest says it all the time, and it's great. And his comment is like, I'd rather throw a party for like 100 people in like a 10-person room than like 100 people in a 10,000-person room. And it's just really that vibe. So yeah, just really creating another place where we can do more economic tourism. We can bring other sporting events specifically tied to soccer and women's soccer, specifically in our permanent location. Really put this on the map when it comes to soccer around the world. Like, it's already on the map when it comes to tourism and vacation. We just played in a $1 million tournament called the Soccer Tournament, or TST, in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Wow.
And Visit Tampa Bay sponsors. So they were front of kit. First time ever, women were playing with, our Tampa Bay Sun, and I was super proud to have Visit Tampa Bay as the front of kit sponsor. And literally everyone's like, yeah, we want to go to Tampa. And I'm like, I know you do.
I know, isn't it great? I mean, we hear it more and more.
It's easy
and
to
more.
sell.
Oh
So
my
easy to
gosh.
sell.
Well, I would and I've saved this for last, to talk about your journey. So when you were a little girl, you decided at a very tender age that you like to ref.
Yeah, I'm a weird person.
I
I'm a very
love
weird.
it. I love it. I mean, my goodness, leading the charge, the inaugural season, you're the president, you're the general counsel. So well spoken. You have to tell us your story.
Yeah, so I would say my story really epitomizes what was the American dream. So my dad is from Guatemala, my mom's from Honduras, Central American. Their parents came here truly to give them a better life, and from like the Latin American culture, right? Our culture is to be more with around family. So the fact that their parents got up and said, we want to give a better life to our kids, and brought them here when they were in their teenage years, and for my parents to really believe in that, I think that was truly one of the core tenements of what created why I was probably naive to, social structures or, ceilings or just, things that I should have been like, oh, I can't do that because X, Y, and Z. Because my parents told me, like, as long as you work hard, you get your education, and you're qualified, like you can do and be anything you wanted to be. And I think anytime I look at things that I did decide to do, such as refereeing when I was at the age of 10, was because I was like, hey, I'm pretty good at this, right? Like could make money at the age of 10. Like,
and did you guys listen to that age of 10? Age of 10.
Mind you, I was yelling at the ref. Please don't yell at them. But that's the reason why I got into it. Because my coach was a ref and he yelled at me to get into the class. And I was like, fine, I'll take in the class because I want to keep yelling and sound smarter. And then I realized I can make like $10 doing these 6 kids and doing like $30 a night when you're 10 years old is great money, right? Because it's empowering to buy your own clothes and like be able to afford your own movie ticket and support the family. But yeah, no, that really is like when I kind of talk to people about in general, I was like, it's just the American dream does exist. It still exists, and it exists in the past, in the present, and in the future for many individuals who come into this country. And people really do, I go all over the world, believe that when you come to America, you can be anything you want to be as long as you're qualified to do so. So that's kind of why I say I'm not very good at the present, because I'm always like, what's next? What's next? Like, what else can I achieve? And not by I achieve, but like, what can we achieve? Like, what can I do? And then I always joke with, what's it called? Running Out of Time. And that is the Alexander Hamilton song. And he's always singing about, I feel like he's running out of time. And I feel like that is like the song that plays in my head every single day.
That there's so much more I need to do.
So much more, right? How do you make the next generation better? And I was just on the phone with a good friend of mine who used to play in the youth women's national team, got paid $10,000 a year to play professional soccer, which is mind blowing, right? And they were part of the team that the whole world got behind and the United States got behind. And we talk about it all the time. It's like a decade has passed in no way, shape, or form where either of us have thought we would be presidents or GMs or really becoming the structure of creating a universe or a world that we needed that didn't exist. And now we get to be the architects of it, which is just mind blowing.
It's wonderful. And did you ref the sport you refed? Was it always soccer?
Yeah, only soccer. Yeah,
and women.
I couldn't. Men and women.
Men and women.
Yep. So I was certified as a VAR for Major League Soccer. I just came back from the men's Euros, doing TV work for ITV. So it was very interesting to have an American woman tell the United Kingdom all the laws about soccer. It was an incredible experience, and it went from like an American woman to now we just don't like her accent for some people, right? So you're like, all right, qualified. Like I finally got there. But yeah, no. It's just always been an incredible experience on the officiating side. Allowed you to see a different part of the game, and it really just kind of taught me how to manage, specifically like where the majority of my legal work is litigation in the courtroom. And I did construction civil litigation for 10 years, and I can guarantee you there's not many women, let alone minority women, in that world. So
you're a leader.
Yeah. Thanks. Hopefully you're just inspiring people to
absolutely
not live in the present and move forward in the future and be like, oh, we did what?
And you really grew up in the state.
I did.
In Florida, but now Tampa is clearly home base.
Yeah, Cape Coral, Fort Myers area. So dad was from the military. So we were stationed in Coronado. That's where I was born in San Diego, and then moved over to Jacksonville. And so Florida's really been a home for probably more part of my meaningful adult life, right? I think up to 10 years old, it doesn't really matter. It's just great weather. We played outdoors every day because there's no such thing as humidity. Cape Coral, Fort Myers area. So always the west coast of the state has always been where my heart is. I went to school in Palm Beach Atlantic and West Palm, and that was fun during my 20s. But when you want to find a place to settle down and raise a family, the west side of Florida is perfect for that.
In Tampa, we keep on saying Tampa's on fire, but Tampa's here, don't you think?
Tampa is here. I keep telling people, I can't believe where we're at, right? The Tampa, St. Pete, like all the other outskirts, like the Tampa Bay area, I think is probably the best way to say it. It's just unbelievable. It's a place everyone wants to come to.
And I would imagine that we will get more and more visitors into Tampa once the Tampa Bay Sun
it's great
takes
to
the
hear.
field.
We see where people are buying some of our merchandise from and tracking it geographically, and it's all over the United States and even sometimes globally. And we're like, we're bringing an interest into this, right? And like some of the ticket sales are people flying in, like from Kansas City, a couple people, some people from Boston and Minnesota, and they're all coming to watch the inaugural game on August 18th. So although we love drawing them in, please, Tampanians, is that the proper word? Please buy your tickets before they get sold.
But isn't it something, just as what you said at the very beginning of the conversation, when the investors said all of this will benefit everybody?
Yes.
And
everyone.
We're already seeing it.
Yep. And it's we're seeing it. I've been talking about it. Now we get to actually see it before our eyes on August 18th. And I cannot wait for you guys to see what we've been working on.
We can't wait either. Thank you so much, Christina
thank
Unkel. You
you.
are, again, a true treasure
Appreciate
of Tampa
it.
Bay.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And we are continuing the conversation with this history-making move with Rob Higgins, Executive Director of the Tampa Bay Sports Commission, such a familiar face in the Bay Area. And Rob, I've got to tell you, Serena Fazan, I'm a little starstruck right now sitting with you.
Give me a break. You deal with Santiago all the time. He's the star of the show. In all seriousness, before we get started, I do want to thank Santiago and Visit Tampa Bay for the incredible partnership we have with the Sports Commission and Visit Tampa Bay. We are joined at the hip and just so fortunate to have such great partners.
I know. It is just, I know. I just can't say enough either. And that hair, his hair.
It's great. I wish I could pull it off. I can't. I got to keep it high and tight because Santiago's the only one that can pull off that do for sure.
Well, Santiago, as you saw, has such a huge, big smile on his face that we all should have a smile on our face on our new soccer team.
Oh, yeah.
My
we
gosh.
are pumped. The Tampa Bay Sun is officially here, and we're just so fortunate to have great visionaries like Daryl Shaw and David Laxer, who have been working on this for quite some time and bringing it all together. So to have the Tampa Bay Sun about to launch here on August 18th is phenomenal. They're part of a great league under the USL umbrella, and it's a really exciting time. I know we're going to jump more into it, but it's the missing piece to the Team Tampa Bay puzzle for sure.
And I would love for you to talk about that more, because in your role as the executive director, I mean, we have really proud of Tampa and all the sports that we have brought here. But again, if you don't mind delving deeper, how significant is this?
A lot of people don't realize our first professional franchise was a soccer team in the original Tampa Bay Rowdies. So the fabric of our sports community has really been woven off of soccer, and then it certainly expanded on to the Buccaneers and the Lightning and the Rays. And we've had these strong men's teams, but we've really been missing a strong professional women's team. We're a sports community that is always focused on women's sports. We're hosting our record 4th NCAA Women's Final Four in April. We just hosted our 2nd NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship. We recruit women's and girls sporting events of all shapes and sizes on a constant basis, but we've never really had that professional women's team. So to have the Tampa Bay Sun launching in our community and great partners like David and Daryl and Christina Unkel as well has been tremendous, and it's something we're really excited about.
You know, I feel like we have really put ourselves on the map too with all our championship teams, you know, the Buccaneers, the Lightning. Being one of only a few states having soccer, how does this further build our reputation from your perspective in the sports community?
Well, soccer's been a big part of everything we do. We're fortunate to host around 100 to 120 youth and amateur events every year that generate over 250,000 hotel visitor room nights. Several of those are youth soccer events. I mean, it's such a great sport, not only from a participation standpoint, but also getting a chance to watch it as well. So to now have the Sun coming and being right here in our community is phenomenal. And we're really enjoying this partnership with the Sun. We've had the good fortune as an organization to help work on their logo launch and to help work with a lot of their grassroots marketing efforts too. I mean, just this past week, we helped set up goals in Gaslight Park and had
downtowners during their lunch hour get some shots off, and as well as having some youth as well as their players there. So it's been a great collaborative effort. We're excited to see this season get launched and see this emerging sports property turn into something really special.
You know, you were talking about hotel rooms and hotel rooms getting booked and tourists in town. I mean, you also have a personal passion with sports and soccer with your own son. Right. And then your daughter playing volleyball as well.
He played soccer from really the time he could walk all the way through this past year at Jesuit High School here locally. And so he's always been a huge player. So I've not only been really passionate about it from a business standpoint for our community, but then personally as well. Many of Saturday and Sundays, I was on the sidelines of his games and traveling around and seeing firsthand how the economic impact of soccer works, because it was coming out of my wallet half the time. So it has been a great experience and something that I've been really intimately involved in.
And speaking of that, you are an alum, right, of Jesuit High School as well, and you are from Tampa. You have seen what does this do? And we are Visit Tampa Bay from a tourism aspect. I know we've touched on it. I mean, how much this is going to bring in a lot of
absolutely
money.
The more things that people have to see and do when they come into town, the more motive they have to come here. So the fact that we're going to have a professional women's soccer team right here in the heart of downtown, I think, the stadium site being where it is and being so close to the Riverwalk and Armature Works and all of those things just gives all of these folks that visit us another reason to be here and another reason to come back. So it's an exciting proposition for sure. And we couldn't be more pumped to have the Sun launching here really in the next couple of weeks.
And, as a parent and as a leader of this city, what do you think it says also on putting all that money into Blake High School?
Oh, we always look at really the economic impact, but it's not just that, it's the social impact. And so to be able to renovate and enhance a great local facility here at one of our high schools and have them have the intangible benefits of getting a chance to have a facility like that for their own home football games and their soccer games and everything in between, it's incredible. So I love the fact that one of our local facilities has been improved because of this emerging professional women's soccer team.
Do you think all of those factors combined, and even if you're not a soccer fan, that could bring more tourists into Tampa? Because it's also, right, the impression that we give to the world.
Absolutely. I think it's just another motivating factor to come visit us. There's so many things to see and do in our community, and this is a new and different one that we think will be a great attractor for sure. The other thing about sports tourism specifically is it's proven that it's recession proof. It's proven that it's pandemic proof. And what happens is when we host these different events, people will find other parts of their family budget to cut. But if your kid is playing in a game or your favorite team is playing in a game, you're going to do everything you can to make it to those events. And so this is another one of those great magnets for us to be able to bring people to our community.
Isn't that something? I love, one of the reasons, with many reasons I love hosting shows and doing shows, is because you always learn something. And that I do feel sports galvanizes a community, no matter what's happening.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at one recent example when the Buccaneers made the Super Bowl. It was right in the middle of a pandemic, a very challenging time. We've hosted 5 Super Bowls, and we call that our most meaningful. Because there was so much resilience shown by the community. It was an opportunity to show that events could be of that magnitude. You think about how big a Super Bowl is, could be done in a really healthy and safe fashion. So there's so many different things that helps pull people together and galvanize, as you mentioned, a community through sports. And now you look at the opportunity to host professional women's soccer, we know it's going to do just that again as well.
And Rob, you mentioned to me that, of course, the Tampa Bay Sports Commission is very involved right now with the Tampa Bay Sun, but you got involved after the fact. right?
Yeah, I mean, I think early on, we certainly had many conversations with David and Daryl as they were really flushing out the overall opportunity to be able to be awarded a franchise. And, they use this as a resource throughout, but they certainly did all the heavy lifting. But then once things came into place and the franchise was announced, they've leaned into us in terms of being able to help them from a marketing standpoint and some of the things, when you're launching a franchise, you need a tremendous amount of partnerships and resources because it's such a sprint to be able to get to that first home game and be able to hit all those different mile markers. And so we've been fortunate to be one of those resources that they've utilized to get to this launching point.
The reason why I asked that question, because humility aside, Santiago is also very humble. He came from a teaching background. He was a principal,
He's got an incredible story.
And really so do you. Like with you, your story of being, I feel like it takes passionate leaders. Look, I'm getting goosebumps, to bring all of this to fruition. You have been involved in sports. One of my favorite stories is when you were 8 years old with USF.
Yes.
And it happened because of something that happened in church.
Yeah, so I went to a USF men's basketball game, my first game I'd ever been to at the age of 8 on a Saturday night. It actually went to overtime, and the Bulls pulled off a great win. And then the next morning, every Sunday morning, my parents and sister and I would go to 7:30 a.m. Mass. And even though we were out way too late the night before, what was the Sundome, now the Yingling Center, I was at Mass that morning, and in the row in front of me was an assistant coach that I recognized from the bench, USF's bench the night before. And so we went to say, "Peace be with you." He turned around and said, "Peace be with you." And I said, "Good game, coach." And he said, "See me after Mass." And I'm like, oh, here's another one of those deals where my mouth gets me in trouble yet again as a pretty fiery 8-year-old. And when I saw him after Mass, he invited me to become a ball kid for the team. And from there, I don't think I missed a home game for several years, and even elevated my way from ball kid to student manager and helping with being a student assistant and really on what was a coaching path at the time. But it was just such a great launching point for me. And I've just encouraged the kids around, if you got something on your mind, go ahead and say it. What's the worst that could happen? It could lead to a life-changing opportunity.
Well, absolutely, because now look, you've been with the Tampa Bay Sports Commission. I can't believe this because honestly, you look so young, for more than 20 years. Right?
20 years now, just this past June, and it has been really a dream come true. If you asked me 25 years ago, I wouldn't know what a sports commission was or what it was responsible for. 20 years ago, there was really 100 sports commissions across the country. Now there's over 650.
Wow.
And the reason for that huge increase is communities have seen the return on investment when it comes to sports tourism. And so it's been just a dream come true, getting an opportunity to promote our hometown to become this destination for sports events of really all shapes and sizes.
I'm so happy too that we shared that story of when you were 8 years old and what it led to, because Christina Unkel at the age of 10, she started to referee. Who would have imagined?
What a slacker. She couldn't get started when she was 8 years old like me. I'll have to bust her chops the next time I see her. But no, she has such a fascinating story, from a refereeing side of things to broadcast to law degree and everything in between, and now the president of our community's first professional women's team. So it's really cool, and she's doing a great job. I will also want to give a lot of credit to Claire Lessinger on our team, our vice president of events, because Claire really works hand in hand with Christina on a variety of different initiatives, but specifically on the Sun as well. Claire actually, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, helped start our WISE chapter, which is Women in Sports and Events here. And it's grown to become one of the top 3 or 4 biggest WISE chapters across the country. Over 400 members, active members, and it's helped galvanize a lot of the women that work in sports here in our community, from, the Rays to the Lightning to the Bucks to all these different professional franchises, as well as so many others. And I really want to tip my hat to her, in addition to leading this women's Final Four that we have coming up in April.
Could you see more female sports permanently here?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think certainly that's a vision that we have. It starts with hosting events and then being ultra successful, but then transitions to franchises and other properties as well. I can tell you, just based off the success of the WISE chapter, there's certainly a real nucleus here and a great base to be able to continue to grow women's sports of all shapes and sizes, and it's something we're really passionate about.
With all your experience, and if you could honestly just touch base on that, on how significant the Tampa Bay Commission has been with sports. Again, humility aside.
It's been a huge economic driver for our community. I think right around, when you look at all the group business that takes place, about 40% of that, when it comes to conventions and meetings and whatnot, is associated with sporting events. So I mentioned earlier, our 100 events help generate 250,000 hotel visitor room nights. Many of those help fill in times of need. So when you think about it, most event organizers are going to host when school's out, or when there's, a 3-day weekend, a holiday break, a spring break, all of those things, when tourism traditionally may be a little slower. So sports helps fill that in. It also helps fill in different areas of the community that may not see as robust a business when it comes to different convention groups as well. So it really is, a great 1-2 punch when it comes to both Visit Tampa Bay and the Sports Commission, because we're all pulling in the same direction together and trying to be as successful as possible.
And absolutely, as you say, because even if you're not a sports fan, it brings in jobs, it brings in help for the local businesses. It helps everybody.
Yeah, and when you have 50 to 60,000 tourism and hospitality employees here in our community, it's great when you host these major national events. But we're doing 1, 2, or 3 of those a year. It's the every weekend events, the youth soccer tournaments, to the club volleyball tournaments, to baseball, softball, you name it. If it's a competition, it's going to help generate hotel visitor room nights. We're going to try to bring it here, and those are the events that really help drive that consistent business for all of our local hotels, our restaurants, our shops, and everybody that's in this great hospitality industry.
So, Rob, where do you see then the Tampa Bay Sun going? I mean, what is your dream? What is your vision for that particular team?
It's not my vision.
Our vision.
I would say as a fan, I see a lot of championships coming. And I think, Christina and Coach Schulte Brown, who is awesome, the fact they brought her over from USF Women's Soccer and all the success she has had over there. They got the right coach. I've been seeing the player announcements. They've got the right players. They've got the right ownership. They have all the right ingredients and the right alignment to be really successful. So as a fan, I see a lot of championships coming. As a partner, I think we want to work together to make sure that there's as much awareness as possible, and everybody in every corner of the community knows that our hometown finally has professional women's soccer. And so it's an exciting time. I think the sky's the limit in terms of where they're going to go. That's for sure. Boy, that was a great pun too. The sky's the limit for the Sun.
I know. That was
wow.
Fantastic.
That was totally not even
and it
intentional.
It just came to you, you know?
Yeah.
What can we do as a community to help even build the Sun further? Is there anything that we can do?
Yeah, come out to games. I really think that's always going to be the biggest hurdle or challenge is like, you want to make sure they're fully embraced as much as possible. And so you got to give them a chance. That's the first thing to do. I think if you give the Sun a chance and come out to Blake to one of their games, come out to the opener on the 18th and experience it, I think the things that they have planned from a fan experience standpoint are going to make you want to come back. So it always starts with that tipping point and making sure you're invested and come to a game, because hopefully that will snowball, and I think it will, in terms of coming out to more games after that.
And after the other teams start, do you see more cities following Tampa Bay's path and getting professional female soccer?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the growth of women's sports in general, not just soccer, but you look at what's happening on the basketball front, you look at what's happening in volleyball, softball, really every women's sport is on fire right now. And so I think communities, just as I talked about from a sports commission standpoint, have grown from 100 to 650. Professional women's sports are going to do the same. I mean, you're already seeing it across the board. The value, the television rights, the franchise values, all of those things have grown exponentially just in the last couple of years alone. So you're going to see more and more communities embark on this journey. And again, we're really fortunate that David and Daryl had this vision for our community, and again, to help, fill in this missing piece of the puzzle.
Well, I know you do also your own show, and you talk about all sorts of exciting topics. For people to learn more about the Tampa Bay Sports Commission, where would they go?
Check out our website at tampabaysports.org. You can also look at our social media accounts. Most of them are at Sports Tampa Bay, and follow along. Our mantra, it's not a motto, it's a promise. It's game day every day. And so every day we have something going on from some event standpoint, whether we're hosting one or bidding on one, and you can stay tuned to our website and our social accounts for that.
Well, it's so exciting having you here and sharing this with us, Rob.
Well, appreciate you having us on. And again, thanks to Visit Tampa Bay for being such a great partner and leader in the industry.
Thank you so much. And speaking of partners, we could not do any of this without the help of our partners. So if you're interested in becoming a partner, please head to visittampa.bay.com, and also to follow all the great things that are happening in the city of Tampa. On behalf of President and CEO Santiago Carrata, I'm Serena Fazan, and this is Unlocking Tampa Bay.